She hails from a particular group of islands just off of the Nicaraguan coast, and these islands consist of San Andreas, Providence, and San Catalina. Now, you may be asking, essentially, what does she have to do with Trinidad and Tobago and appearing on the program this morning? Well, it's really interesting. These islands, and she is the executive director of the Providence Foundation and the representative of GITEC Colombia. Well, there is a knowledge exchange taking place between those islands and Trinidad and Tobago in the area of disaster management, especially at the community level, looking at things such as hazards, incident management, early warning systems, and so on. So Trinidad and Tobago has been, in many respects, a leader, but we're also quick to understand that we are learning on the global scale. So this is an opportunity where we get to exchange information on some very important topics, considering the effects of climate change, considering natural disasters, and so forth that are taking place. So it is my pleasure to introduce our first guest this morning, and she is June Marie Mow, as I mentioned, Executive Director of the Providence Foundation and representative of GITEC Colombia. Good morning and welcome to AM Prime.
Good morning, and thank you for having me on this news today.
It's my absolute pleasure. So, as I understand, you are in Trinidad and Tobago, yeah?
Yes, today
And
we are in Tobago.
I
Yes.
must ask, how is it thus far, your experience coming to this country? What can you say? Do you love it? Can you see a lot of similarities between where you're from and Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes, yes, we absolutely. We are smaller, much smaller than you are, but we are Caribbean, and we feel, I mean, from the first minute we arrived here, we feel very welcome, and we feel at home. And I think that's important. So thank you very much for your hospitality, especially ODPM, Mr. Anwar Baksh, and here in Tobago, Mr. Brian Thomas of the Tobago House of Assembly, the emergency team,
Yes.
agency team.
Excellent. And it's very interesting that you say you feel at home. And I know that Caribbean Airlines, and during Carnival, we had that theme of welcome home. So we're happy to welcome you, in essence, home here in Trinidad and particularly Tobago. Now, prior to you coming on, we were having a bit of a conversation. And as far as I understand it, is this relationship or this effort that is taking place right now didn't just start in Trinidad and Tobago. It actually took place a little while ago, where we would have had representatives of the ODPM, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management, and TEMA, so the Tobago Emergency Management Authority. Do you mind telling us a bit more about how this all got started?
Yes, it started 2 years back. We were hit strong, very hard by both hurricanes, Eta and Iota. That was November. So like in a span of 2 weeks, we were hit by 2 hurricanes. The second one really almost swept Providence, the smaller islands, Providence and Santa Catalina away. It was a Category 5, and so we saw that the government was reconstructing, rebuilding, but they were not including the community. So we asked for help from the community level, from the civil society, and we got support from Open Society Foundations. Our representative in Colombia is Mr. Auro Fraser. And he said, let's do a little bit more. So right now we are working towards climate justice on our islands, and hoping that the Colombian government will support us, because we have particularities. We are similar to the Caribbean islands, and we know that we can learn more from the Caribbean islands, and we can receive more information about how to build climate resilience. And that's our aim, that's our long-term goal. And we are happy that we we are hard here in Trinidad and Tobago, and that this government is willing to support us. And we also reached out to the Colombian government. They know we are here. We met yesterday with our ambassador. He was kind enough to receive us. He listened to us, and we have his full support, as well as the Colombian government in Bogota. So we hope that we are on the right pathway, and with your support, we can really do a lot more to help our communities to learn to deal with climate change, to adapt. Sometimes we have to transform our practices, and that's why we are here. So we are very grateful to your country for supporting us, and we hope we can take back a lot. We are here with a wonderful group of Providence and San Andres people. As I said, they are strong community leaders, social leaders in our communities, and they feel, as I do, very welcome here in Trinidad and Tobago. On Saturday, we had a meeting at the UTT in Trinidad, and on Sunday, we had some site visits. We visited farmers, and the university has been hosting us when in terms of agriculture best practices, and we only have to say thank you.
Excellent. And I noticed that you said that there are things in common. And one of that is that, of course, we are a part of the English-speaking Caribbean. You would have mentioned to me that there might have been that misconception that you all are Spanish speakers, but more closely related to the likes of Belize and Jamaica and so forth. So I guess that just adds the icing on the cake in terms of making sure that this...
Yes, and one of our most important medical doctors, he came from Trinidad, and his family is still in Trinidad. I'm sure there are others, because we came from different Caribbean areas, islands, and most especially probably from Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, but we also have our community is mixed with different Caribbean islands. So
Understood.
It's so great to reconnect, and we hope that we can keep on exchanging with journalists as well. And this would be great. I know we have done this in the past. We had, most recently a group that came from the islands last year and did an exchange with broadcasting, because we are in a regional broadcasting association.
And that's so important, I think, in these times, building those regional links, because as a region, I think that we are more powerful together, and this is definitely a demonstration of that, the amazing things that we can do together, sharing information, knowledge, technical know-how, and so forth. So I'm very interested to see how this all pans out. Now, before I ask you in terms of your actual stay here, when you arrived, and the time that you're spending here, and how that is expected to roll out, what I wanted to find out in terms of the Providence Foundation, because you are the executive director, if you can give us a bit more of an understanding of what exactly is the Providence Foundation, and also the GITEC Colombia, because you are the representative there.
Yes, Providence Foundation was founded in 2005, and we are locals that are our aim is the sustainable development of the San Andres archipelago. And we're a biosphere reserve since 2000. And I know you have a biosphere reserve in Tobago. So that's another link for us, because we do exchange between biosphere reserves. And so Providence Foundation does a lot of community outreach. We work with children. And since 2006, we are also engaged in hurricane preparedness. So and now more with climate change and climate resilience. Right now we are working on a school, a climate resilience school, a primary school on our islands. So we try to work very close to the communities. And I work for GITEC since 2012. And GITEC is a a company, a German company, since 1960.
Wow.
And we work especially on development projects. So we work with governments. We also work with private companies, with multilateral banks, and we develop projects. Normally, we work at the community level in high participatory projects, and with the support from UNESCO, and as I mentioned previously, Open Society Foundations. Since last year, we have been and I forgot to mention one of our main partners, which is GITEC, is here with us in Tobago too, Ms. Laura Canevari. And we have been doing hazards maps and hazard and resources maps with the community on the island. So we go to every section of the island and we work with the community, and they map their community. So we use very large maps. We call those social maps, and then our GIS specialist, he digitalized this information into the GIS maps. And so we have maps from every community with people showing where they is their major threats or dangers. And then what we did with them was work a roadmap. So we have like an action plan in each community-based. And as I said, what we're doing here is learning more, your lessons learned, your recommendations, so that we can improve our roadmaps. And here in Tobago, our biggest expectation is to learn how you work at a community level. There is with us one of an expert from our islands on disaster risk reduction, and he works for the departmental government, and he said we really need to work more at the community level. And we think we have a lot to learn from Tobago, from TEMA. And this morning we will be visiting TEMA in Tobago and the warehouse. And the community, the members of the community, they are really very excited about learning more and what they can really do when they get back home. So that's our
nice.
goal this week. And we are very happy to be here.
Excellent. Now, I think this information is so very important, and it might be something that we, the average Trinbagonian, take for granted because we may have developed certain systems and so forth, or ways of doing things. Now, it was very important, a big takeaway was that these maps would help in terms of identifying certain high-risk areas and so forth. This, I would imagine, would assist persons in determining where they would want to build their homes, or where it would be important to have certain like shelters and amenities available to the public and the community. So all very interesting things there. I wanted to find out though, when was it that you arrived in the country, and how long are you expected, you and your team are expected to be here on the ground learning from us here in Trinidad and Tobago?
We arrived Saturday with Copa from Panama, so it was like a midnight flight. And we have been, we were received by ODPM at the airport. And as I mentioned, we were at the university at the UTT that day. And Mr. Marlon Knight, he was so kind to talk to us about the agriculture program at the university. Which for us was very interesting because it's about engaging youth's involvement, and obviously on small islands, on tiny islands like ours, that's very important. So we found one of the things that we would really like to do is to have an exchange at that level, at the university level. Yes. And we're thinking about scholarships from our islands to Trinidad to learn about agriculture, and to especially the program you are carrying out. So we have a local university, and we're thinking about teaming up the UTT and our local university, but also to have scholars from our islands to Trinidad. And we hope that we can carry this through. And that's one of the commitments of our ambassador.
Excellent. Well, let's not just think about it, let's make it happen. And
Yes, and we will
especially,
be here until Thursday in Tobago,
yes.
and Friday early we leave to Panama and then back to San Andres.
Excellent. Well, unfortunately, time has run out on us, but as mentioned, you will be here for some time still until Thursday. I want to strongly encourage you to take advantage of every opportunity to understand our culture and our people. I have met the former Colombian ambassador to Trinidad and Tobago. You all are some amazing persons and so many unique things that bind us together as a Caribbean people, Central and South America and so forth. So I'm really happy to learn
So
that you all.
thank you. Our ambassador is from the islands, and it's the third time that we have an ambassador in Trinidad that is from our islands.
Excellent.
And I've been to Trinidad, especially to Tobago in the past at the Institute for Marine Affairs. And so I'm really happy to be back and to exchange, and I hope this is a long-lasting relationship.
I hope so as well. June Marie, let me thank you so much for joining me this morning and sharing this information. I think it's very positive news, and we will definitely look on to see what comes out of it, and feel free to share any information with us moving forward so that we can continue to shine a spotlight on this amazing work that is taking place, this knowledge exchange and knowledge sharing and so forth. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
And thank you for having us.